All right, so you're ready to take your training, coaching, or education business to the next level, right?
Sounds about right.
You sent us this YouTube video, Untap Exponential Growth with our Growth Acceleration Program, or GAP from Paradiso Learning. So we're diving deep into this today to help you figure out if it's the right fit for your business.
Yeah, that video starts off with this scenario of a millionaire business owner, super stressed,
Okay.
feels trapped by their own success, which I think a lot of entrepreneurs can probably relate to, honestly, feeling like they're always having to push, push, push to keep everything going.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty powerful way to introduce a program, gets your attention.
Definitely grabs you. It definitely sets the stage for like, okay, this is the problem they're trying to solve. So what's the solution? What do they offer?
Well, they call it the Diamond Growth Framework.
Okay.
Basically, it's like a guiding principle for business growth.
Right.
And it focuses on 5 key areas.
That varies.
Yeah. Mindset, strategy,
Yeah.
sales marketing, technology.
And operations.
Okay, so 5 areas. It's comprehensive. It covers a lot. What I thought was interesting is they start with mindset,
Yeah.
which you don't see a lot in, these kinds of programs where they jump right into the tactics.
Yeah, it's kind of refreshing actually. They really highlight how mindset shapes your decisions and your reaction to challenges.
Yeah.
Like, it makes me think about all the times I've, let self-doubt creep in and how that definitely impacted my progress. So it makes sense to start there.
Totally. It's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day, especially as an entrepreneur, the daily grind, and you forget to zoom out.
Right.
Look at the bigger picture, and those setbacks, it can really get to you.
Oh, absolutely. They make this point that a lot of entrepreneurs, even if they're really good at what they do,
Right.
they might not have that specific mindset that you need to actually scale a business successfully.
Yeah, so it's not just it's how you approach, like, the whole game of business.
Exactly. So what about the strategy piece?
Well, that's all about clarity. They really stress the importance of identifying the fastest path to your goals. I mean, when you're in the thick of it, it's easy to miss opportunities or chase shiny objects.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this framework is designed to help you step back,
Right. Yeah.
like get a little perspective and see those paths more clearly.
Which is so valuable to have that outside perspective.
Totally.
Okay, sales and marketing, that's where things get real for a lot of entrepreneurs. What did they emphasize in that area?
So they go into how to craft a message that resonates with your audience.
Okay.
Building lead magnets, they use that term, to capture interest. And then they talk about developing a value ladder, which I thought was really interesting.
Ooh, value ladder. I like that term. Can you unpack that a bit? What does that look like practically?
So basically, it's a structured way of offering your products or services, different price points.
Yeah.
Kind of guiding your potential clients through a journey where the value and their investment increases.
I see.
I think it's smart because you got to meet people where they are.
Right.
In their journey.
So it's not just having one flagship program. It's about strategically guiding them towards it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they also talk about this idea of becoming a mini celebrity within your niche.
Okay.
Which is all about building authority, building trust. And that allows you to command higher prices and attract more clients.
Okay, now I'm really curious about that mini celebrity thing. What would that look like for someone who's in, the training or coaching space?
Well, they didn't get super specific in the video.
Okay.
But I imagine it's about, showcasing your expertise in a way that makes you stand out.
Yeah.
Maybe through content creation.
Yeah.
Being a guest on podcasts. Maybe speaking engagements, things like that.
So it's about becoming synonymous with your area of expertise.
Right.
The go-to person.
Yeah.
The one that people trust and want to learn from.
Exactly. And that actually leads perfectly into the next part of the framework. Technology. They emphasize how technology can be a lever for generating leads, for creating a better learner experience, and just streamlining your operations in general.
Yeah.
Just making things run more smoothly.
Yeah, it feels like in today's business landscape, technology is essential.
It is.
But it can also be completely overwhelming.
Oh, yeah.
Did they offer any specific examples? Like tools or strategies?
They talked about things like AI-powered tools, integrating with CRM systems, and using automation to just, improve efficiency.
Okay.
Like one example they gave was offering free tools or mini courses as lead magnets.
Right.
Which is a great way to demonstrate expertise while you're capturing leads at the same time.
Yeah.
So, killing two birds with one stone.
It's that show, don't tell. Applying it to technology, which, especially for online businesses, it makes total sense because people can't always, experience your expertise firsthand before they commit.
Right.
So that's huge. Okay, last piece of the Diamond Growth Framework, operations.
Yes.
This, to me, feels like the behind-the-scenes stuff that can, really make or break your success.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What did they highlight here?
So they talk about taking a really hard look at your current operations to find any bottlenecks or things that aren't working efficiently. And they suggested documenting your processes, even if it sounds really boring.
Makes sense.
Because when you have clear processes, it's easier to delegate tasks, to train new team members, and just to make sure that there's consistency in your business.
It's crucial, especially as you grow.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then they also mentioned maybe even offloading some of your back-end operations to free up your time for more high-level tasks, working smarter, not harder.
Yeah, that's always the goal. Before we get too deep into how to apply all this, they did say that this program, this GAP program, isn't for everyone, right?
Yeah, they specifically said it's really designed for businesses that are already earning at least $250,000 in profit.
Okay.
So, they're looking for established businesses that have a solid foundation.
Gotcha.
And they're ready to scale.
It's about amplifying something that's already working.
Yes.
Not starting from scratch.
Exactly.
I am curious about the misconceptions they talked about.
Oh, right.
What were some of those and how did they address those?
Well, the first one was this idea that being an expert in your subject automatically means you'll be a great business owner.
Right.
They pointed out that a lot of times that's not the case. And that assumption can really hold people back.
It's important to know what you're good at and what you need to learn or get help with, to acknowledge that.
For sure. And they also challenge that whole just work harder mentality.
Oh, yeah.
Saying that more effort doesn't always equal better results.
Right.
So they stress the importance of working smarter, not just putting in more hours.
Did they give any examples of what working smarter might look like?
Not in this specific video,
okay.
But they did say that seeking guidance from a coach or a mentor who can give you that outside perspective can really help you focus on the right things.
Okay, so it's about having a strategy.
Yeah.
And getting support to implement it effectively.
Exactly. And they also tackle this misconception that just having information is enough.
Yeah.
To transform your business.
Oh, the information overload trap.
It is. It's so easy to fall into that.
Totally. We live in a world where information is coming at us from every direction.
Right.
Doesn't necessarily mean we're taking action or seeing results.
Totally. They actually, they compared it to doctors, how they have access to all the latest medical research, but sometimes even they struggle to follow their own advice.
Interesting. It really highlights that gap between knowledge and implementation.
Right. They said real transformation comes from changing your beliefs and behaviors.
Not just knowing more stuff.
Yeah.
So it's about taking that knowledge and actually putting it into practice.
Totally.
It's like making it a part of your daily routine.
Exactly.
Decision making.
And that's where, coaching and mentorship can be super valuable because they give you that guidance and accountability.
Yeah. Like having a partner in the trenches with you to keep you on track.
Yeah, exactly. They also touched on this idea that all marketing agencies are the same.
Okay.
Especially for people who've, had bad experiences in the past.
Right, which is understandable.
Totally. They emphasize that their program takes a more holistic approach. It's not just about marketing tactics. It's about addressing all 5 areas of that diamond framework.
Gotcha.
Mindset, strategy, sales and marketing, technology, and operations.
So it's more like a complete system.
It is.
It's not just one piece of the puzzle. They're really looking at the whole thing.
Exactly. They really emphasized how their experience and their expertise in the training, coaching, and education space gives them a unique advantage in helping businesses in that specific niche.
So it's not generic business advice. It's tailored specifically.
Right.
For what you're doing.
And they believe that can help you avoid common pitfalls and just grow faster.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. We've talked about the pain point. The 5 key areas of the Diamond Growth Framework, some common misconceptions.
Right.
I mean, it's really interesting to see how they've woven this all together.
It is. It feels like a very thorough approach.
It does.
Very comprehensive.
So now the question is, how does all of this apply to you,
Right.
to your business?
That's a great question, and that's exactly what we're going to dig into in part 2. We'll shift from the general framework and look at how you can actually start implementing these principles in your own unique business.
All right, so let's get practical. We've laid out this diamond growth framework, the 5 facets: mindset, strategy, sales and marketing, technology, and operations. But how do we actually use this to accelerate your training, coaching, or education business?
Well, you can think of it like a diagnostic tool.
Okay.
We're going to hold this framework up to your business and see where things are really shining.
Yeah.
And where maybe there's some rough edges that need some attention.
I like that analogy. So it's about getting a clear picture of your strengths and weaknesses so you can focus your effort where it'll have the most impact.
Exactly. So the first step is to really identify your biggest bottleneck right now. Out of those 5 areas, which one, if you could magically improve it overnight, would unlock the most growth for you?
That's a great question to consider. It's so tempting to want to do everything at once.
Right.
But focusing on that one critical area can really make a huge difference.
It can. So let's say your bottleneck is mindset.
Okay.
Maybe you're dealing with imposter syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
or you're constantly feeling overwhelmed by all the demands of running a business.
Yeah.
Which, those are really common struggles for entrepreneurs, especially when you're working solo. It can be tough to stay positive and focused.
It can. So what do you do if mindset is your thing to work on?
Well, the first step is, like they say in the video, awareness.
Okay.
You have to actually identify those negative thought patterns that are holding you back.
Mm-hmm.
And then, once you're aware of them, you can start to challenge them
Mm-hmm.
and consciously try to replace them with more empowering beliefs.
Yeah, like reframing your inner dialogue. Instead of focusing on what could go wrong, you're training yourself to see the possibilities, the opportunities. It's not always easy, though.
It's not.
I'm curious, have you had to work on your own mindset as an entrepreneur?
Oh, absolutely. Early on, I used to get so caught up comparing myself to others,
Oh, yeah.
which it was like a recipe for self-doubt.
Mm-hmm.
What helps me was really focusing on my own strengths
Mm-hmm.
and the value that I was bringing to my clients. So yeah, it's a process, but awareness is definitely the first step.
That makes sense. Okay, so what if someone's bottleneck is strategy? Maybe they aren't sure how to stand out
Right.
in a crowded market,
Right.
or they're having trouble defining, who their ideal client is.
That's where getting really clear on your value proposition comes in.
All right.
Like, what problems do you solve better than anyone else?
Yeah.
What unique skills and experience do you bring to the table?
Mm-hmm.
And who are those specific people you're best equipped to help?
Yeah.
That's huge.
It's finding your niche and really positioning yourself as the go-to expert in that space. But it's also about deeply understanding your audience.
It is.
Their needs, their pain points, what they want to achieve.
Totally. And once you have that clarity, you can start to build a marketing and sales system that's actually designed to attract those ideal clients.
Right.
And then, convert them into paying customers.
Which brings us to sales and marketing. What if that's where somebody's feeling stuck?
Well, the video highlighted a few key strategies. Building a strong brand, creating valuable lead magnets to capture interest, and developing a sales funnel,
Mm-hmm.
that really guides people through the process of getting to know you
Right.
and your offerings.
And they also talked about that value ladder concept.
Yes.
I wonder if you could give us an example.
Sure.
What would that look like for somebody in the training or coaching world?
Okay, so imagine you're a coach who helps people overcome procrastination. Your value ladder might start with something free, like a checklist or a webinar on, the 5 biggest productivity killers or something.
Okay.
And then you could offer maybe a paid workshop on time management techniques.
Mm-hmm.
From there, you could have a group coaching program, and then at the highest level, you could offer those one-on-one coaching packages.
Okay, so it's providing value at each step.
Right.
Meeting them where they are.
Yeah.
And gradually guiding them, deeper
Exactly.
levels of engagement.
And they also emphasized how important it is to build authority. Becoming that mini celebrity in your niche.
You mentioned that earlier, but how does someone actually become a mini celebrity?
It
sounds kind of intimidating.
I think it boils down to consistently showing up and sharing your expertise in a way that connects with your audience.
Yeah.
Creating great content, being active on social media, getting interviewed on podcasts, speaking at events, things like that. That all helps to position you as a thought leader.
It's about becoming a trusted voice.
Yes.
And building a community.
Exactly. And speaking of technology.
Yeah, that's our next piece.
That's the next piece of the puzzle.
Technology is a double-edged sword.
It is.
I mean, it can be a powerful tool for growth, but it can also be a source of total overwhelm. Did they offer any specific advice for navigating that?
Well, they said the key is choosing the right tools for your needs and making sure they integrate, seamlessly into your workflow.
Right.
It's not about using every single new app or platform that comes out. It's about finding the ones that really support your business goals.
Right. The ones that actually make things easier.
Exactly. So they mentioned things like email automation, social media scheduling, and even, AI-powered chatbots for those frequently asked questions. Just think about all the tasks you do over and over again in your business.
Right.
And see if there's a tool out there that can automate or streamline it for you.
Yeah, freeing up your time and energy for those things that only you can do.
Exactly, like creating awesome content.
Yeah.
Coaching your clients.
Yeah.
Developing new programs.
Right. Okay, so then they talked about using technology to improve the learner experience. What would that look like in the context of like training, coaching, or education?
Well, it could be, adding interactive elements into your online courses. You can use personalized learning platforms or even things like virtual reality.
Wow.
To create more immersive experiences.
It's about making learning more fun.
It is.
More engaging.
Yeah.
And impactful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then finally, we have operations, which can sometimes be the bottleneck that people don't even realize is holding them back.
It is. It's where things can get really messy if you don't have good systems.
Oh, yeah.
It's all the behind-the-scenes stuff that keeps everything running smoothly.
Right. And in the video, they really stressed how important it is to analyze your operations, to find any of those bottlenecks or inefficiencies. I even suggest, writing down your processes, even though that sounds kind of boring.
It does sound a little tedious. Yeah. But I can see how important that is.
It is, because when you have clear processes written down, it makes it so much easier to delegate.
Yeah.
To train new team members and just to make sure everything stays consistent.
So you're building a business that can actually run without you having to manage every little detail.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've walked through each piece of this diamond growth framework.
Man.
How it might apply to somebody running a training, coaching, or education business. I'm curious, from your perspective, what part of this framework really resonates with you the most?
What stands out to me is the emphasis on mindset and strategy. As that foundation. It's easy to get distracted by tactics, quick fixes. But without the right mindset and a clear strategy in place, you're probably just going to spin your wheels.
It's like having a powerful engine, but no clear direction. You might have all the horsepower, but if you don't know where you're going, you're not going to get very far.
That's a great way to put it. And I also appreciate that this framework, it incorporates both the internal and external factors.
Yeah.
It's not just about mastering those marketing strategies or optimizing your operations. It's about, developing the right mindset. Understanding your own strengths and weaknesses.
Aligning like your inner game.
It is.
With your outer game.
Exactly. And that brings us to a really important question for you, the listener. Out of these 5 areas, mindset, strategy, sales and marketing, technology, or operations, which one do you feel is your biggest bottleneck right now?
Take a minute to really think about that. Which area, if you could magically improve it, would have the most significant impact on your business? That's your starting point.
It is. That's where you focus your energy first.
And even small improvements in one area can really have a ripple effect.
They can.
On your whole business.
Progress, not perfection.
That's it. All right, before we jump into part 3, where we'll dive into some practical tips and resources, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What's resonating with you so far? What questions are coming up? All right, so we've spent some time unpacking this diamond growth framework, but how do we go from theory to action? Like, what can our listener actually do with this information?
Well, you know how we talked about mindset being that foundation?
Yeah.
One of the simplest But most powerful things you can do is start a daily gratitude practice.
Gratitude, it seems almost too simple.
Right.
But I have heard that from a lot of successful people. Like, what's the connection between gratitude and business growth specifically?
Well, when you shift your focus from what you're lacking to what you already have,
Yeah.
it really changes your whole outlook. It can lower your stress, boost your mood, and even help you come up with creative solutions to problems.
It's like putting on a different pair of glasses.
It is.
You're changing how you see your business.
Totally.
And the challenge is, okay, so what if strategy is the area where somebody's feeling stuck? What would you recommend there?
There's this book that I recommend a lot called Blue Ocean Strategy.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that one.
It's all about creating uncontested market space
Okay.
instead of, fighting it out in a crowded competitive market.
Right, finding those blue oceans
Exactly.
where you can really stand out. Okay, what about sales and marketing?
One of the best things you can do is build an email list. Start nurturing those relationships and providing consistent value.
Email's still so important.
It is.
It's like a direct line to your audience.
It is. And you control it.
You're not at the mercy of, algorithms changing.
Exactly. Offer a good lead magnet, something valuable, in exchange for their email address. Maybe a free checklist, guide, or mini course.
It's that give to get.
It is. It's a win-win.
They get something valuable, you get their email address, and you can build that relationship.
You got it.
Okay, so if somebody is feeling overwhelmed by technology, where do they even begin?
Start with those tools that can automate those tasks you do over and over again.
Like we were talking about before.
Yeah. Email automation, social media scheduling, those chatbots, anything that can, take things off your plate.
Yeah, reclaim some of your time. Okay, and then lastly, operations.
Operations.
What are some tips for making that area run more smoothly?
The key is to create a system that works even when you're not there.
Yeah.
So that means, writing those processes down, client onboarding, content creation, how you deliver your program, all of it.
Yeah.
It sounds boring, I know, but it's important.
It does, but I get it. It makes things so much easier down the line when you have to delegate or train somebody. You're basically building a business that can thrive.
You are.
Even as you step back.
That's the goal.
So to kind of bring this all together for our listener, what's the one thing they should take away from this whole deep dive?
I think the most important takeaway is you don't have to feel overwhelmed by, the whole idea of growing your business.
Right.
This framework gives you a roadmap.
Mm-hmm.
And we've given you some action steps you can start with.
Knowledge is only powerful if you use it.
Right. Pick one area
that
speaks to you, one tip that feels doable, and just start there.
Yeah. Small steps. You don't have to do everything at once.
Exactly.
And remember, you are not alone in this. There are so many resources to support you, whether it's books, courses, coaches, mentors, communities online. And, we've talked a lot about the external strategies, but honestly, your greatest asset is your ability to learn and adapt.
It is.
So embrace that. Stay curious. Never stop learning. That growth mindset is what will really set you apart.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that's a wrap for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration.